And we are back, and we just finished watching 1988's The Blob, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 35 minutes. This is written by Theodore Simonson, K. Linaker, Irvin H. Millgate, and directed by Chuck Russell. This is, I think, I guess a remake of the previous one, the original one with Steve McQueen, right?
Yeah, remake of the original Blob. Does Frank Darabont have something to do with this? I thought I saw his name in the credits.
Yeah, I think he produced it. So so original Blob from 1958, which was only 1 hour and 26 minutes, so just a few minutes shy of this one. That one, the writers were Theodore Simonson, K. Linaker, and Irving H. Millgate. So I guess they took the same script?
No.
They must have changed it
a bit. Yeah. I think you're getting the wrong information.
I mean, this is what it says here on IMDb. Writing credits: Theodore Simonson, earlier script. K. Linaker, earlier script. Story: Irving H. Millgate. And then, so the screenplay here is Chuck Russell and Frank Darabont.
There you go.
There we go. Sorry. But obviously from an existing property.
Yeah, because there are similarities, but they definitely add a lot more different characters, stuff like that. Right,
and I guess make it more in time with the time. This is definitely an 80s film.
Oh my God, yeah.
According to IMDb, the blurb is: a deadly entity from space crash lands near a small town and begins consuming everyone in its path. Panic ensues as shady government scientists try to contain the horrific creature. I guess that's about right.
That pretty much sums it up, yeah.
What'd you think? Still held up, right?
This really did still hold. I saw this in the theater when I was young. Like you said, it came out in 87?
88.
88? So, yeah.
I was like 16.
Yeah. So I was probably 15. And, yeah, I remember seeing this with my friends, and we were just, like, shocked because the little kid gets killed in it.
Yeah.
And, like, that up until that point, that never happened.
Right.
The little kid always gets rescued or saved, and while one little kid does, another little kid just he dies so gruesomely. Everybody dies gruesomely. Yeah. This was when they really were like, all right, let's see how we can make a person look like they're melting.
Yeah.
In the physical world. Because everything is there is no CG.
Yes.
It's just puppets and latex and Vaseline and whatever else they did to make everything look gooey and absolutely disgusting, like things dribbling everywhere. The blob looked hideous. It looked sort of like ground up meat and fat, and it was just like exploding from itself. So there would be like layers that it would be bursting out of itself.
Yeah.
Really well done.
Really well done. I'm glad you brought that part of it up, because I was going to say this is a movie that does not rely on CG in the slightest. And
no, there may be a bit of like stop motion-y sort of stuff going on, but that's still not there was a puppet there, and like when the columns of blob flesh just splat people.
Down. Yeah. I heard you laughing.
Oh my God, that was great. And when the people are like running in front of it, and it's just like launching out like tendrils and picking them up, and you see their arms and legs kicking as they're being pulled into the mass of the blob. Oh my God, I love that stuff. I wish more movies were like this. I wish more films were like that. That they would go this like really practical route, even though it doesn't look as polished and finessed as certain things or CG enhanced. But I thought
this looked great.
This looked great. I mean, and at the time, man.
Oh my God, we were so invested in this.
We were enthralled. We were just like, wow, did you see what happened to that guy in that sink?
Yeah.
That was messed up. And
do you think this is still rated R? I feel like this is like a PG-13 movie to me. I mean, people are dying, but it's not gratuitous. It's not really. I mean, there's not really I think
it would probably get rated R for like the mutilation. There's a lot of mutilation in this movie. There's people with missing limbs, and they're begging for death, and it's really grotesque. They did a great job.
I guess.
And
I feel like it's tame, though. I don't know.
It's tame, but you also got to think of like, well, you're thinking about younger viewers, and while some of them are like marveling at great CG and special effects, there is still like this doesn't look bad.
No, it doesn't.
This still looks good.
Yeah.
People melting would look like this.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, this looks better than I've seen people melting in computer graphics.
Yeah, yeah.
It does look better when they pull the blanket off the hobo and you see all his organs and everything just there. Like that was something that was there that they were staring at. It just looks great. Yeah. And it looks real and visceral and gory.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could see this still getting an R rating because they do R ratings for just gore.
I guess. I think even compared to other gory things that I've seen, like I don't think that this is an R.
This was very gory. Just because it's done with practical effects and whatnot does not make it not gory. It's still gory. Like this was like The Thing. It had that level of special effects.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, exactly. If you like The Thing, you'll probably like this movie.
Yeah.
It's
definitely in the same vein.
It's in the same vein. Obviously, you're dealing with teens and whatnot. But, yeah, it's roughly alien invasion comes and people are getting mutilated and distorted in different ways. It's surprising that this, I feel, if I remember right, this really didn't do that well.
I don't think so. I mean, I saw it in the theater and enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the hell out of it too.
I enjoyed this
but
I
don't, like, nobody talks about this movie.
No, they don't. And it's weird because it does hold up and it's good. You know what? It's funny because when you said you wanted to see it, I was like, oh, is this going to be like Krull for me where it didn't hold up? But I think it's simplistic, not simplistic, but I think it's a simple story enough that it still transcends time. So this, according to this, it didn't really do that well. The estimated budget on this for 1988 was $19 million. The opening box office in U.S. and Canada in August of 1988 was only $2,644,920. The domestic gross in U.S. and Canada is only $8,247,943, and apparently the worldwide gross is the same number. So this only made it only made over $8 million. So it made half the budget. That's unfortunate. And it's great. It moves really well. The characters are all likable. The effects are great. It's only an hour and 35 minutes, which is the sweet spot, right? Everything now is like 2 hours and change. Yeah.
And other films that have come out that didn't do well, they end up like finding their audience and getting sort of like a cult following.
Sure.
I don't feel like this ever did. Nobody ever talks about The Blob.
Okay, well, I think the reason for that is because you don't have sort of like the name recognition. Like everybody knows who Matt Dillon is, but does everybody know who Kevin Dillon is?
But who cares, really?
I agree with you. I agree. Listen, I still love this film, but I'm trying to understand, like you, why this didn't do better box office.
It's not like as though most cult films have big stars in them.
True.
There were usually B movie actors who have sort of, okay, I was in The Blob. It was a lot of fun. I'm wondering what happened there. I'm a little baffled there.
This held up, and I think
and another thing that I like about this film is that it really subverts your expectations as far as what's going to happen in it, because they introduce characters and they give them lives. Like you feel that these characters have lives, like the sheriff and the first date and the waitress. Mm-hmm. There's you feel like there's something more to them, and then it's like, oh, well, that happened to them.
Well, this is probably why it didn't do well. So according to Box Office Mojo, the domestic box office for August of 1988, the big money movie that month was Cocktail with Tom Cruise. Figures that was making $44 million. Die Hard was, I guess, still in the theaters, $34 million. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, $32 million. A Fish Called Wanda, $30 million. A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, which is, if you're going to spend your money in horror, that's probably where you're going to do it, $26 million. Coming to America, $24 million. Young Guns, $24 million. Midnight Run, 18 million.
Oh, wow.
Big, 15 million. The 1988 re-release of Bambi, 14 million. Number 11, Bull Durham, 12. Tucker.
This is just for August?
This is just August.
Jesus.
Tucker, The Man in His Dream, 11 million.
That one, I don't think anybody cared about.
The Deadpool, I think that's Clint Eastwood,
Yeah,
9 million.
I saw that one in the theater too.
Michael Keaton, Clean and Sober, 8 million. Crocodile Dundee 2. Number 16, The Blob. So that came after a lot of other movies. So yeah, I guess that's why it didn't do well.
And a lot of the ones that you mentioned towards the top had some serious staying power. So they were taking up all the theaters.
Die Hard was in the theaters for a while.
But even still, it's like when films like this bomb at the box office, eventually they find their audience, especially like horror and things like that.
This is another interesting statistic. According to Box Office Mojo, this was released in 1,081 theaters, whereas Crocodile Dundee, which did $100,000 more than this movie, was released in 2,837 theaters.
Well, that first Crocodile Dundee movie, everybody lost their minds over. It was like, oh my God, I love Australia.
Yeah, and he was, I guess, popular for a while. Because didn't they do 2, and was there a third? Or was it just 2? I don't remember.
I don't know. I think there was just 2 because I don't believe the second one did very well.
But all these other films had wider release. Coming to America was in over 2,000 theaters.
Yeah, and I'm sure Big was released, Cocktail,
1,462 theaters. Die Hard, 1,713 theaters. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, 1,598. Yeah, so these Nightmare on Elm Street 4, 1,767 theaters. So
which one? What was the subtitle on that one?
On what? Nightmare on Elm Street 4? Yeah. The Dream Master.
The Dream Master.
Dream Warrior was number 3. I think I saw the first, second, and third. I think by this time I had already lost interest.
I think I did see number 4, but I don't think I liked it at all. But I remember everybody liked the third one.
Yeah, the third one was fun.
Everybody hated the second one.
The fourth one was. Yeah, I didn't like the second one. But I don't think number 4 was as good as The Blob.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I mean, this really was good, and it really deserves more of an audience.
Yeah.
I seriously don't get why it didn't do better. The fact that they are willing to the special effects that went into it, and the fact that the story writers are willing to kill who they were willing to kill.
Yeah.
And in the ways that they killed them. It was really well done. It was surprising. Yeah. It was exciting. It moved quickly.
It had a fun
script. It has like some coincidences in it that you just forgive because it's a stupid horror movie.
Yeah.
But it's still fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
from start to finish, this was a good movie.
And it looked really good.
Yeah.
The Blob was hideous. Kevin Dillon's mullet was hideous.
Yes. But that was a product of the 80s. Yeah. I think everyone had hair like that. And the girl, too, Shawnee Smith.
Especially the guy on the Mustang, not the motorcycle with smoking cigarettes. And Johnny Cool.
Yeah, his MC leather jacket. So I was going to say that I think, much like you, I think I only saw this once in the theater.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it immensely. I also did see the 58 version of The Blob with Steve McQueen. I don't remember much about it. I think it's I think it said on the IMDb page it's like 10 minutes less than this, but I don't remember. But I feel like this, sometimes we talk about how a remake could be a hit or a miss. I actually feel like this one was better than the original.
Yeah. I mean, I
haven't seen the original. I feel like I need to now watch it.
The original was just
it was black and white.
It was black and white. It literally was just a blob, meaning they probably just had a miniature and they poured like molasses through the miniature so it oozed through the windows, and that was the height of the special effect.
Right.
And the only thing I remember was it coming out of the movie theater.
Yes.
And then they freeze it, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Whereas there's a lot of freaking stuff going on. I mean,
and even at the end, you've got that little scene where it's like, this could continue.
Yeah, they had the
built-in
the sequel bait, I guess we can call it. It's funny that it's something that Frank Darabont likes to do, the crazy religious figure.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
That happens.
In the beginning of the thing, he's just like in the fans, like in the stands, cheering on the high school football. Yay, you're doing great, guys! Yeah, thumbs up. And by the end of the movie, he's just crazy. He's just like, the revelation is coming.
Yeah.
How soon, Father? Soon.
God will give me a sign.
It's like all distorted with greasy hair.
Yeah. Missing eye or cloudy eye on one side and crazy skin on the other when he got burned.
And he started losing it even before that happened.
Yeah. And it's so funny because in that big climactic scene towards the end, I was like, he's the last person they should be saving.
Yeah. But I did enjoy this. Yeah. I thank you for finding it.
Yeah, absolutely. On DVD. Uh-huh. I forgot that we owned it. And again, I hadn't seen it in forever. I think I bought it in a store that has since closed down. And I was like, hey, we should
probably
watch
in the
this.
dollar bin with 6 other movies.
Maybe $5. I might have paid $5 for that. I don't think it was a dollar bin movie. But
I mean, is it available anywhere like for rent or?
I'm sure if you are so inclined, you can.
Yeah, because people should see it. It's fun.
You could buy.
It's not going to change your life, but it's fun if you like practical effects. If you like body horror.
According to IMDb, it doesn't look like it's streaming anywhere, but you can rent it on Prime for $3.99. That is a bargain.
Yeah, I would suggest if you're a fan of any of that I just
horror,
described,
sci-fi, absolutely.
Do it. It's just a fun little ride, and it never got the love that it deserved.
It did, yeah. I agree. It's unfortunate. It is a fun movie, and it's funny because sometimes, again, like I was saying, I think I was dragging my feet on this one because it's like some things live better in nostalgia.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, I would be really hurt if this didn't
revisited it.
If this didn't hold up. But I was happy that it did. Like I was happy that Dirty Dancing held up. I was happy that this held up. What other one have we seen? Like Midnight Run we saw, and that
Midnight
always
Run is fantastic.
Held up, right?
Yeah.
Also a movie from 1988. Yeah, so this was fun. 1 to 10. What did you give it?
I'd probably give it like an 8 or even an 8.5. I would probably just give it that little extra half point just because it did not let me down.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give it an 8.5 too. It's absolutely a joy.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and I remember enjoying it as a kid, and I enjoyed it now
as an adult.
And the effects still held up for me. Like I said, everything was just gooey, and people were like screaming in horror. And some
woman in the telephone booth.
Oh my God, that was great. That was so good. Yeah, it was like.
Oh, sorry, spoilers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how old is this movie?
88.
80. Yeah, it's an old movie, so if we give away some spoilers, tough.
35 years?
35 years old, yeah.
Jeez.
But yeah, just the kills are great. It's just fun. I like fun horror like that.
Yeah. I mean, scary horror is always fun.
Scary horror is good. Like I compared it a bit to The Thing. The Thing is definitely more scary and atmospheric. Also, The Thing had an amazing soundtrack to it.
Yeah.
This film, not so much. This sounded like it was scored by somebody who just did not give a shit. It was just
free
like,
music.
what can we put in there for free? Oh, and we need sound effects for the guns. Okay, just record what was going on Starsky and Hutch or something. It's got like the old gun sound effects, like pew, pew.
Yeah,
like those sort of noises.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but still helps up.
Definitely shortcomings on the sound editing.
That's fine though. Yeah. Overall the picture and the story and the performances were great. I feel bad for Kevin Dillon. This should have been a vehicle for him to get into more of like a sci-fi thriller, maybe even action career, but I guess that didn't happen. Question for you, just to have fun. If you could remake this film, who would you cast?
In the 80s or now?
Now. Who would you cast?
I don't know. Oh, wow, that's a good question.
It's funny.
Who would be rebel guy? Like I would. I mean, I would probably stunt cast the whole thing. Just I would. You know what? To keep with the whole thing where you kind of get thrown off in the beginning, I'd get somebody bigger for first date.
The first date.
So
guy,
yeah,
Paul.
that's Timothy Chalamet.
He gets killed first.
Yeah.
And then Tom Holland as
rebel guy.
Yeah, Brian.
I really can't imagine Tom Holland with some raging mullet. That would be scary to look at.
I mean, you make it like today.
Oh, it doesn't take place in the 80s?
No, it doesn't take place in the 80s. That's what I'm saying. If you're remaking it today, time.
I would like it to take place in the 80s still.
Really? Why?
Cell phones ruin everything.
Oh, that's true.
It's like, there's a thing. Yeah, watch out, it's coming.
Yeah.
There's too much.
It's
too easy.
Here's my TikTok. Look what's going on in town.
You'd miss out on that whole phone booth scene.
Actually.
Yeah.
That's true. Unless do you then bring it back to the 50s?
You could even bring it back to the 50s. Yeah, give it the whole classic thing.
That would be interesting.
The trick with the Blob though is you got to freeze it. Mm-hmm. So the ways that they've always killed the Blob have just never made sense.
Right. Well, that's why
it's like lower it into a giant refrigerator or something. No, it's always like, we got fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
That doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Fire extinguishers don't work like that.
Yeah. I don't know how else they would do it. I mean, dry ice, just dump dry ice. Like maybe there's a dry ice factory there.
Something like that.
And all of a sudden
anything
the
like
thing
that, but
follows it into there.
It's always like some silly way to make things cold. You definitely got to suspend disbelief on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I were to recast it,
Timothy as Paul,
he'd be wasted. Yeah. And I don't know who you would cast as rebel guy. I don't know about Tom Holland.
No?
His face is too boyish. I can never picture him as being a tough guy.
Okay.
You got to have somebody who looks like they could be. When they make an angry face, it's not just, he's cute little angry face.
All right, fair enough. That's a good question. Well, then I really don't know who the young actors are these days. I mean, that's all I know, Timothy and Tom.
We're out of touch.
Yeah.
We're outside of the demographic.
We're outside the demographic.
They don't want our money anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it can't be any of the older guys, like all the Chris's. They're too old. Yep. It has to be a high schooler. I'm sure the Disney factory is going to pump out somebody to take that.
Yeah, there's probably somebody who could look mean.
So it's 8.5, 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. Definitely go check it out. We caught it on DVD, but it's also to buy rent on Prime Video. And I think if you like sci-fi, if you like horror, if you like a fast-paced story thriller type situation, I think that this definitely hits all those check marks for you. It's not long. It's only an hour and 35 minutes, so it's in that sweet spot. Enough of an investment in story, but not too much, and it flows. It flows nicely. Again, the special, it was nice to see practical effects throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely an underrated 80s gem.
Definitely an underrated gem. And I think with that, we should wrap it up. And that is it from us. Again, The Blob from 1988 with Shawnee Smith and Kevin Dillon as the leads. Really well done. Shout out to Frank Darabont and Chuck Russell for bringing that back and doing a bang-up job with it. Yeah, again, I think this remake of The Blob was way more exciting than the 58 original.
Yeah.
All right, and that's it from us, and we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.